Hello and welcome to this first lecture of this new section on dynamic behavior in this course, Systems Thinking. So the purpose of this section again is to give you an in-depth view this time of this dynamic behavior aspect of systems thinking. And in this lecture, we will start talking about how to analyze how systems change and adapt in response to the changes in external and input influences, and also things like feedback loops, external disturbances, as well as policy interventions. So the analysis of the system's change and adapting in response to these internal and external influences involves first to understand the dynamics of the system. What is the underlying interaction between the components? What's going to happening? And in that process, also identify key factors that drive the change and assess the effect of various influences such as feedback loops, external disturbances, or policy interventions. So let's take a look at the steps that you can take as we go forward. So there is a step-by-step approach that we're going to outline now for you and summarize, and then we're going to take you through some of the steps in some detail and some in a lot more detail. So first thing you need to do is to analyze the system's dynamic, which basically means how will the system react to the different situations. So analysis of that dynamics. And then identify if there are any feedback loops, because feedback loops make the difference in terms of how the system reacts. Then actually assess the external disturbances. How will external disturbances affect the response of the system? Then model the policy interventions. You come down to whatever policy interventions you have in mind. You build a model and then you model and you see the response there. And there you look at the sensitivity of the responses by varying the parameters of the model or the external influences or anything else that is relevant. And in that you need to do the scenario planning. What if this is what will this situation will be, what will happen, and that kind of scenario planning you need to do. And then you monitor and adapt and evaluate and learn. So that's an overall process. So let's take a look at some detail these steps. Now there are steps that we've already talked about. I'm going to quickly summarize and move forward. And there are some like the assessing external disturbances that we will take in a lot more detail as we go to the next lecture. So in this lecture, let's quickly summarize how can you do the systems dynamics analysis and how can you identify the feedback loops. So you need to begin your systems dynamic analysis by modeling the system dynamics, where you can use the very familiar tools by now, things like causal loop diagrams, as we would have talked about earlier. We have talked about earlier. Stock and flow diagram, we talked much earlier, and also agent-based modeling. Now, these models will help represent the relationship between the system components, the feedback loops, and the flow of resources or information within the system. And that will help you understand the underlying system dynamics that can help you predict what is going to happen and then see how the interventions work out. Also, the feedback loops are critical as we've been seeing. So you need to identify feedback loops as we have explained in a lot of detail in one section itself. So that is the second thing that you need to do. So what is next? So having quickly looked at what are the various things and taking a look at the dynamic behavior, we will now go and take a in-depth look at how to assess the external disturbances in the next lecture. So thank you so much for watching this first lecture on dynamic behavior. I hope you're continuing to learn new things, continuing to enjoy, and I do look forward to see you again in the next lecture. Please feel free to message me if you have any questions. I'll be happy to answer a question, and also download the PDF file to take a look at anything that is of specific interest to you.